habitat to hundreds of fish within the Indian River Lagoon alone. However, in the 1950s and 60s, much of these salt marsh and mangrove wetlands were impounded for mosquito control purposes. Unlike freshwater mosquitoes, salt marsh mosquitoes breed in moist soil, which is exposed during hot summer months. So, as we can see in the diagram to the far right, that's one of my impoundment sites. And so you can see there's a dike around the outer edge of the mangroves, and then within the dike there are ditches which are periodically filled with water to inhibit these mosquitoes from laying their eggs. However, in the 70s and 80s, they realized that because of the closed off of the outer dikes, fish, as well as proper water connectivity, is inhibited. So they implemented special metal culverts, which are fish tunnels. So fish are able to move in and out. So for my research, I am looking at larval fish abundance, or ichthyoplankton abundance, within 3 Indian River land trust sites along the east coast of Florida. And so in order to sample these fish larvae, I use what is called light traps. And so in the middle picture, you can see that's one of my light traps. And I set 3 on the inside of each impoundment and 3 in the outer lagoon. And you can see that there are many intake funnels that taper down to a collection jar at the bottom. And there's a light inside that attracts the fish, essentially like moths. And so each time I set and each time I retrieve these traps, I also take dissolved oxygen as well as salinity measurements. After I collect my fish, I humanely euthanize them and I preserve them in a 37% formaldehyde solution for identification. I use a digital microscope and I look at identifying characteristics such as the number of fin rays, the number of myomeres or muscle bands, as well as pigmentation to get a proper identification. So for my data so far, we can see that the most abundant species on the top was the eastern mosquito fish, followed by the bay anchovy. My 2 target species, the common snook and the Atlantic tarpon, which are popular sport fish, game species, had much lower abundances. So, along with these data, I'm using the data from station water level and temperature sensors to look at the differences in seasonality as well as the differences inside the impoundments and the surrounding lagoon. My data can be used by the Indian River Land Trust as well as the Indian River Lagoon National Estuary Program to build better management plans and then to elicit that information to mosquito control districts across the east coast of Florida. So while we're keeping the mosquitoes at bay, hopefully we can keep our local fish residents happy as well. Thank you.